And first, I would like to give the floor to Myanmar on behalf of ASEAN, His Excellency Mr. Maung, Permanent Representative.
Madam Co-Chair, I wish to congratulate the co-chairs and members of the Bureau on behalf of the 10 ASEAN member states and wish to reiterate ASEAN countries' full cooperation in the consideration of the post-2015 framework for disaster risk reduction. Southeast Asia is one of the most disaster-prone regions, with recent disasters in the past few years, including the devastating Super Typhoon Haiyan in the Philippines, floods in Thailand, earthquake in Indonesia, and tsunami in several countries. Disaster risk reduction is therefore close to our heart. In this spirit, ASEAN has submitted to the Secretariat its contribution document on DRR, which was adopted at the 24th ASEAN Committee on Disaster Management ACDM, held in Brunei Darussalam from 20 to 22nd May 2014. ASEAN reiterates its full support of the Bangkok Declaration adopted at the 6th ASEAN Ministerial Conference on Disaster Risk Reduction in Bangkok on 24 June 2014, as well as its annexed Asia-Pacific Input Document for HFA2 to be reflected in the outcomes of the World Conference in Sendai. We would also like to share our experiences on the implementation of the Hyogo Framework for Action HFA in the region and provide some highlights on what should be included in the future HFA2 as follows. Number 1, implementation and challenges of HFA1. At the regional level in ASEAN, the implementation of HFA is largely supported by ASEAN Agreement on Disaster Management and Emergency Response (ADMAR), which provides the regional policy backbone for promoting regional cooperation in reducing disaster losses and facilitating joint emergency response within the region. In November 2011, a regional cross-sectoral policy development on disaster risk management was strengthened through the ASEAN Roadmap for Disaster Risk Financing and Insurance, and in 2013, the establishment of the ASEAN Cross-Sectoral Coordination Committee on Disaster Risk Financing and Insurance. Although HFA has substantively contributed to assisting ASEAN member states to reduce and manage their vulnerabilities to and risk of disaster, the goals and priorities for action are still far from being attained, even as new challenges continue to emerge and implementation gaps in the 5 priorities for action remain. Despite considerable progress in the improvement of databases, investments in early warning systems, education, and awareness raising, there are difficulties and challenges that still remain concerning the identification of new risks, the use of science-based technology and innovation in the region. Number 2, what should be reflected in HFA2? The year 2015 is the unique opportunity where 3 important discussions take place, namely the post-2015 development agenda, the global agreement on climate change, and the HFA2. Disasters not only bring death and destruction, but also cause significant economic losses and hinder development. Disasters have become one of the main threats to sustainable development on a global scale. ASEAN, therefore, supports the mutually reinforcing coherence and complementarities between the Development Agenda, Climate Change Agreement, and HFA2, including through assessment and monitoring mechanism. In terms of monitoring system and periodic review process, the new HFA2 should provide measurable outcomes and impacts, as well as more clarity with regard to responsibility and accountability. The new mechanism should also establish a clear linkage between the regional HFA monitor and the national HFA monitor. At the global level, we believe that international cooperation is fundamental to enable all states to efficiently implement the priority areas of the current HFA, which remains relevant, and the future framework which is being discussed. States, relevant international organizations, and stakeholders are encouraged to provide technical assistance and capacity building to states in need upon request. Technical assistance and expertise should also include knowledge sharing and capacity building, in particular regarding science-based disaster risk management. In addition, the private sector has a significant role to play in disaster risk management and has to see this not as a cost, but as an investment to prevent further economic losses. We encourage public-private partnership PPP and more risk-sensitive investments at all levels, as well as leveraging private sector expertise and resources. Finally, all the suggestions above should go along with the promotion of risk governance and accountability in order to ensure responsible engagement and transparency of all stakeholders at all levels. And thank you, Madam Co-Chair.